New York City is an interesting animal. New York City is a variety of dichotomies. You have incredibly old, incredibly new. And neither necessarily is accessible. Accommodations can get very expensive. But am I not a taxpayer? No one says, oh, you don't have to pay as much taxes because you can't get in there. No. I pay just as much taxes and I don't get to use things. And I think that's wrong.
Being in a wheelchair, a lot of people don't realize that we have lives too. We enjoy doing everything that the average New Yorker would do. We go to clubs, we go to parties, we visit family, we visit other friends. So I think the transportation system needs to really improve. I've been using a wheelchair for 3 years now after an accident to my foot. Traveling around the city is very difficult for me. Trying to get used to using a wheelchair that's now a part of me is something that I haven't still gotten used to. There's still a lot of tricks that you gotta learn to maneuvering yourself when you're trying to travel, whether you come across bad sidewalks, curb cuts, other people, things like that. It's really stressful. A lot of our buses don't really work as well as they should when it comes to the lift. There's an MTA law that says all drivers must use the lift manually if it doesn't work electronically. And I've had drivers tell me, I can't do it because my back hurts or I'm not touching it because it's dirty. They'll see a wheelchair and they will pass us by. They will tell us that they don't have the key. And if I may, I have a key right here, and this key operates every single lift in New York City buses.
We all got keys for the bus lifts. Because drivers would say, I don't have a key. And you would go, I have one. So if I have a lift key and a bus key, I'm pretty much good to go. There I am, Miss Mass Transit.
I've had situations where I've had to ask for help and people have had to either carry me or drag me down a curb cut that was either bad or never existed. And New York City has a lot of curb cuts that are just not in regulation. One of the many roadblocks that I have faced using a wheelchair is useless elevators in New York City. When you're trying to travel in the subway, a lot of times when I take the subway, I have to sit there and find out the hard way that there are really no accessible elevators at that station because it either went out or something happened at the last minute. So you constantly have to check and make sure before you even start your day that this is running and this is up. That way you can move around comfortably.
Having to memorize all of that. I say there's no room left for other stuff. How many subway elevators can I cram into my brain? One day I had a meeting in the municipal building. My next meeting was in Brooklyn. I was wheeling over the bridge. I have a friend who commutes to work across the bridge. She lives in the East 20s, takes a bus down, wheels across the bridge. Because the only train is all the way over on the west side. It's like doing a day's work before you get to work.
The MTA has this thing called the 100 plan, and it's planning to make 100 key stations around the system wheelchair accessible. It's not 100%, but it's a start. Myself and Anthony Driscoll, I'm the co-creator and he's the developer and main creator of Wheelie NYC, and it's an app that helps wheelchair users navigate the subway system. And we will show the average wheelchair user how to get from point A to point B only using accessible subway stations. I'm trying to get around like everybody else, and so is everybody else using wheelchairs. We deserve to have access as well, and this is what we fight for.
New York City is old, let's be honest here. We have old subways, we have old libraries, we have old buildings. Many buildings have a step or two to get into them. Under the ADA, that is considered readily amelioratable. I got the word out this time. Amelioratable. Which means you could put a ramp, you can put a lift, but bottom line is, if you're a public accommodation and anyone can come into your business or your office or whatever it is, your library, your politicians' offices, so should people with disabilities.
She got a thing in the that was handed to her that was buy one get one.